All right, we're going to go over the HIM Cribbit trading plan for KO. So let's go over the HIM Cribbit trading plan for KO. I just saw some puts being bought in KO. So I'm actually going to buy some straddles probably in KO knockout. So let's go over the HIM Cribbit trading plan. So I go into the whiteboard and I bring in KO. Just move some things around. Stock is currently trading 38.56. 38.56. Over the last 8 quarters, the stock has moved down 0.6%, up 1.6%, up 2.1%, up 0.8%, up 3.3%, down 1.2%, and then up 0.4%. So the average move on earnings is around this 1.2%. How much is the at the money straddle? So I think there's a 38.5 straddle. Let me bring this up real quick. So I bring up my option montage for KO knockout. So KO knockout. I'm looking at the 38.5 straddle for KO. 38.5 straddle for KO is right around 80 cents. So the implied move is an 80-cent move. 80 cents is about 2.1%. I'm always going to have 2 measure move targets. I'm going to have an upside measure move target and a downside measure move target. So my upside measure move target is 38 plus 80 cents, which is 39.30. I'm going to have a downside measure move target, which is 38.5 minus 80 cents, which is 37.80. How does the chart look? So I'd have to bring up the chart here. Let's bring up chart on the daily in KO knockout. It does look decent. It might start heading south here. If the market was performing a lot better, then this should be performing a lot better as well. We see it in this bull channel. Now it's taking a turn for the worse. Could be hitting the bear channel here. What I'm going to look to do in KO, and I'm going to put a very small position on, is I'm looking to buy at the money straddles. I'm going to look to buy at the money straddles. So the 38.5 straddle. I saw paper buying some volatility going in earnings. So I'm going to just jump on board. I'm going to buy some straddles. So I'm going to buy the 38.5 straddle, 38.5 calls, 38.5 puts. I add them together. Gives me a straddle price. And I'm going to buy some of them for 82 cents. I'll just get in at 82. Okay, so I'm going to get in this trade. I'm bidding at 82 cents for this trade. So I'm trying to buy the 38.5 straddle for 82 cents. Okay, so my trade is buying the KO Fab 38.5 straddle for 82 cents. If I don't get filled on this trade, then I won't increase my price. Okay, so on this trade, I'm buying the 38.5 calls, buying the 38.5 puts for 82 cents total. Okay, this is a straddle. Buying at the money calls, buying at the money puts, paying a debit for it. My risk on this trade, very good, is $82 per one lot. My reward on this trade is unlimited. In theory, anytime I buy calls, my reward is unlimited. And then I'm going to have 2 break evens of this trade. And I already so nicely given the break evens, 37.68 and 39.32. February, and my target, the stock moves. So I've not got filled on this trade, okay? But I'm just buying some at the money straddles here. Buying 38.5 puts, buying 38.5 calls, doing this for 82 cents total as a debit. I have not got filled on this trade yet. I'm working this order in the spread book. I'm working this order in the spread book. Does anybody have any questions about a straddle? Buying at the money calls, buying at the money puts. I'm leaving mine in on the price that it is. You know, this is my least confidence trade. I know. But this one's this one's only 80 cents, so I can only lose $80 per one lot. I haven't got filled, so I'm not technically in this trade yet. So I said I wasn't going to buy any more straddles, and then I'm buying straddles. Does anybody have any questions about this trade? I'm looking to buy at the money puts, buy at the money calls in Coke, KO for earnings. Okay, I saw paper buy a bunch of puts, so they're expecting a big move. Then I want to bet on a bigger move too. Okay, so I think this is a good reward to risk trade. I also see some March 40 calls being bought. Let me look at those real quick. Maybe I'll change my trade. March 40 calls. I just canceled my bid on the straddles. I'm going to bid March 40 calls instead. I'm going to buy some March 40 calls on a breakout higher. I'm going to bid 17 cents for some March 40 calls. So I canceled my straddle, and I'm going to look to buy some March 40 calls for 17 cents. So I'm bidding some March 40 calls for 17 cents. I know this paper bought some of these, so I don't mind. This is a bad trade. Buying upside calls. I could buy the Feb March. How about that one? I keep changing my trade. You know, I'm not that confident in Coke, right? You know, I'm not that confident. So what happens when I don't know what I actually want to do. So let me go to the chart. How about the Feb March 40? That's not a bad trade. I get that on for about 12 cents. So now I'm looking at the Feb March 40. Selling the Febs to buying the Marches. And I'll pay like 12 cents for this if they're interested. So now I'm moving it to the Feb March 40 call spread for 12 cents. So this is a calendar spread. So I'm just changing my trade right now. Feb March 40 call spread, I'm bidding 12 cents for it in KO Coke. So I did change my trade, and now I'm bidding a calendar call spread. Okay. So I've been, just changing my trade around, tweaking it. The best thing about being a trader is you can tweak your trade or your philosophy anytime you want. Okay. So this is Coke. So I'm going to change my trade here. And my trade is buying the March Feb 40 call spread for 12 cents. On this trade, I'd be buying the March 40 calls and selling Feb 40 calls. This is a bullish trade. I'm trying to do this for 12 cents. So my break even is hard to say once again. March. The higher the better. I'll probably just leave this on until February expiration for sure. So does anybody have any questions at all on this trade? This is a spread. So I just want to sell Feb because it's don't tell me that. Every time the FXY goes down, I try to, every time it goes up, I want to short it. I've been talking about this forever, and I just haven't been executing. So this is KO, him, Cribbit, trading plan. Does anybody have any questions about this? If not, I'll go on to the last one, which is cores. I saved this. Well, the ones I was looking at, the FXY, I was looking at straddles on Friday, and late in the trading room, I was saying I just want to buy straddles in mid-market, right? So in the FXY on Friday, let me try to bring it up real quick. I was trying to buy the 106 straddles in March. I was trying to buy these for 303 on Friday. So I was trying to buy the March 106 straddles for $3.03, and I never got filled. So I was trying to buy this for 303. Today there were 350. Ah, right. So let's go on to the last trade. Yeah, I would be up money in the FXY. I tried to bid them at the end of the day, and I never got filled. Last trade of the day is going to be Kors, K-O-R-S, Kors. So let's look at Kors for earnings. Whoa, Kors has had. So this is a hard one for me. This is a very, very hard trade for me. And I don't like how this looks, so I'm probably not going to take a trade in it. So Kors, for earnings, the stock is 56.79. Over the last 8 quarters, it's only had four times with earnings. 0.9, 16.5, 7.6, and 27.5. So very sporadic on earnings, right? Last time it didn't move at all. Buffalo Wild Wings is tomorrow night, so I didn't do anything in Buffalo Wild Wings. So on this trade, the implied movement is going to be $6.50 in Kors, which is implying about 11.5% move. So I'm always going to have two measure move targets. I'm going to have an upside measure move target and a downside measure move target. So the upside measure move target in Kors is $64. And the downside measure move target, 57.5 minus 650. $51. How does the chart let? So let's bring up the chart of Kors for earnings. K-O-R-S. I've not got filled in Coke at all. So this is one of Kramer's favorites. You know, it does look well. That's a weekly chart. Let me bring up the daily chart here. You know, it's pretty sloppy here. You know, one thing I might actually look to do is set up a iron condor. I mean, it looks like it's going to break out. It's rallied 4 times of 4 times on earnings. So it's had 4 times on earnings, and it's rallied all 4 times. So it's hard for me to set up a short trade where it's had 4 earnings and it has never sold off. Stock has never sold off on earnings. So it makes that a lot more challenging, right? It has sold off, I mean, it has rallied 4 times in a row on earnings. So that makes me think that I only want to have a bullish trade in it. It is very stock specific in these, you know, high growth stories. You know, we saw Coach selling off. We saw a rally in Ralph Lauren. So in Kors, does anybody currently have any positions on Kors or putting on any positions in Kors? I'm looking at Kors right now and a possible trade setup. It's implying the stock's going to go to 50 or 63. 134 vol. This is a really challenging one for me. Does anybody currently have any positions on in this one, just curiously? Let me just... Does anybody have any trades on in Kors? So I just sold my AOL call spread for 195. So I'm completely out of AOL. So I sold the balance. Ooh. I sold the balance of AOL Feb 32-34 bull call spread for 195. It can only be worth $2. So I sold the balance. I paid 60 cents for this thing. So great trade in AOL. I sold the bull call spread for 195. And it can only be worth $2. So I can only get a nickel more out of it. So I think I just got filled on something. Give me 1 second here, guys. No, that's just AOL. So, possible trade idea. Cores, I think I find it hard to see what I want to do in this. The chart doesn't look very strong, right? It's rallied all 4 times on earnings. I don't want to put on I don't want to sell bull put spreads. What about if I sold like, I don't know what to do. This is a really hard one. Cores at the money straddle, so expensive. What about if I sold, how about if I did an iron condor, hoping the stock didn't move at all? What about if I did an iron condor where I sold the 57.5 straddle? Let me just look at this one real quick. What about if I sold the 57.5 straddle and then I bought some kind of strangle where I'm getting a good risk versus reward setup? So if I sold the 57.5 straddle, the stock didn't move much at all on earnings last time. Maybe I could take a chance that it doesn't move at all. Let me try to buy something out of the money. So I'm going to try to sell the at the money straddle to buy a strangle. Make it $7.50. Why? Let's try this one. Just trying to price some things in here. Obviously, I'll tell you guys the trade that I'm looking at. So this one, I'm just looking at selling an at the money straddle to buy a strangle. $57.5. I want to buy the 50s. Let me just look at the price of this one. So I'm looking to sell an at the money straddle to buy a strangle. Possible setup. Sell the 57.5 straddle to buy the 50.65 strangle. Most it can be worth is $7.50. So let me see what price I can put it on at. Like $5. Do I think it's going to make a big move? That's the question, right? The best thing about trading options is I can make money if the stock moves too much, moves not enough, moves a lot in one direction, not a lot in another direction. I don't really have anything that I want to do in cores. So, sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. So I am actually going to possibly, Toomey I have on still. I talked about a week and a half ago. I did not like the trade. So I'm just leaving it on. So in cores, I'm not going to make a trade. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. So I'm just choosing no trade in this one in cores. I would like to play it to the bear side, but since it's rallied 4 times in a row, I'm not going to make a trade. So I'm not going to make a trade in cores. You guys are more than entitled to do whatever you want. I would want to play it to the short side, and since it's rallied 4 times in a row, this is like a really, really hard earnings for me because last time it didn't move at all, then moved 17%, and then moved 8%, and then it moved 28%. So I don't want to take a trade. I'm not going to take a trade in cores. So I have 4 earnings trades on, and then I have 4 earnings trades, and I'm not doing anything in cores. So I've chose not to do anything in cores. So if you guys have any questions for me, this is a good time to ask questions. We actually finished a little bit early. 4 trades for earnings. I'm long HUN call spreads, short AVP call spreads, short fossil call spreads, and was my last one. I have calendar spreads and Lionsgate. So if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know.